Hi, and welcome back to everyone's favorite podcast, Ask the Trade Pros. This is a show where a couple of trade guys talk. We also talk about trade stuff, but we talk. We're here to answer your questions about HVAC, electrical, plumbing, and any other home system so you can keep your home running smoothly. I'm Jordan.
And I'm Todd. Today we're going to talk about something that was suggested to us by one of our technicians, William. We've covered troubleshooting on air conditioning in previous episodes, but how do you know when it's not worth repairing that old HVAC unit?
So we'll cover today a couple of topics: how long an AC unit typically lasts, as well as what are the signs that it's time to actually replace it.
Air conditioners typically have a lifespan of at least a decade. However, this can be shorter or much longer depending on a whole host of reasons. If you're in Arizona and have our extreme temperatures, then sometimes not much the case.
Yeah, we have summer here 6 to 9 months of the year compared to a normal place where they might only have it 3 months. So your air conditioner, of course, gets double or triple the mileage on it that an air conditioner may get in a colder climate. That puts a lot of wear and tear on it. Also, the extreme temperatures lead to extreme pressure on the system, and it fails earlier than it does. While you're lasting a decade, you may want to look at other factors. For example, most air conditioner warranties are a decade long. And just like a car you have, once it's out of warranty, it's expensive to fix.
Yeah, or what type of system is it? Is it an all-electric or what we call a heat pump system? If that's the case, your compressor's running year-round versus a regular HVAC or what we call a straight cool, that's compressor's only running during the summertime, so double the usage.
Statistically, heat pumps have a shorter lifespan than a straight cool air conditioner for the reasons that Todd just mentioned.
So let's get down to it. When is it actually time to replace your air conditioning unit? Well, for me, and my reasons may differ than other people's, but just like a car, as Jordan said, what it's going to boil down to is how expensive are the repairs? How much money are you constantly putting into it for repairs? What type of refrigerant is it? How old is it? Is it still you have a R22 system, or is it a 410A system? We are moving into beginning of next year a new refrigerant. So that's going to be interesting in words of cost of equipment and different regulations. So this year may be time to replace it with something that's tried and true.
One of the things I learned the other day was a formula for how you can calculate cost to your replacing your AC. In the formula, what they talked about is, as Todd mentioned, there's new product changes coming out, there's new refrigerant changes coming out. All those things lead to an increase in the price of the equipment. So if you buy the equipment today, you obviously save the amount of money that you would from buying the more expensive system next year or the year later. But you also have to factor in that a newest air conditioner is going to be more efficient than your old system. So not only are you saving the money between the pure cost of the equipment, but you'll be saving money on your monthly bills up to the time that you would replace it with that other new equipment. That might help lower the actual cost of replacement for you.
Yeah, that's a good point. So we both come across this all the time. We did have a customer who had 2 systems on their house, and I want to say they were 25 plus years old, and for years we had been talking to them about purchasing new equipment, and the time was coming, and they didn't want to hear or see the facts. But when we asked about their electric bill for those 2 systems, their electric bill was, let's just say, $600 to $1,000 a month, and they didn't see the concept of SEER rating. And higher SEER rating is cheaper cost of running. So higher SEER equipment will actually lower your cost of running, and so that's a value in itself. You might have the upfront cost of the equipment right then, but if you're saving $400 a month in cost of running it, that's a big deal.
Well, that comes down to comfort and convenience too, Todd. So if you're repairing a machine, you got an older machine, yes, you need to do maybe more maintenance on it than normal, more repairs on it than normal, you're nursing it along. Well, there's an inconvenience to that. Your system might be down, or you're spending extra money every year to help repair this machine. That money could easily be put into a newer, more efficient machine. One of the other factors I always talk to customers about is comfort. Is the machine you have in your house meeting your needs? So if you've had complaints about it, if there's issues that could be addressed from a new system, you're buying a new system not only because you have to for the savings in energy or because your old system is beyond its lifespan, but you're buying it to make your life better. And that's a cost that's hard to measure, but invaluable. One of the other factors I always consider, Todd, is how long they're going to stay in the home too. I've heard from so many customers that, I'm going to sell this home in 2 or 3 years, or I'm moving out. And I'm here 8 years later, 10 years later, and I'm still servicing the same home. So have a realistic expectation of how long you're going to be in the home. Because if you're going to be in the home for a longer period of time, or own it, or rent it, or whatever you do with it, then the value of an air conditioner that you install now is going to be more to you than if you were going to move in a couple of years.
Well, that's a good point, too, because that can also put you in a different class of purchasing equipment. So if you're going to use it as a rental property or you're going to turn around and sell the equipment, you might not need a higher SEER equipment. You might want something basic or what we call entry level. Now, if you're going to plan on staying in the house for the rest of your life, you're going to want something more efficient, something with a higher SEER rating.
One of the questions I always ask a customer when they're making this debate over whether they should change their air conditioner if the time is right is a very straightforward question. I ask them, are they a gambler? And I always say, why are you a gambler? I said, well, these machines are just like every other machine we have. When you need it most is when it would fail. So if you're a gambler and you want to ride it out and see if it breaks in the middle of June and you can go through a couple of really hot days without it, well, then by all means, wait on the machine. But if you don't want to endure that and you're more of a proactive person and you don't want that kind of risk associated with you, then you might want to change it ahead of its failure, not at its failure.
So, Jordan, you brought up a good point earlier. You were talking about whether they're going to stay in the home, whether they're going to sell the home, or what the plan is and how that can relate to needing a new HVAC system. So one thing that I suggest is even if you are planning on selling the home, you still need to consider a new HVAC system because it could raise the value of your home. You're going to get your money back on that purchase. Any new home buyer is going to be looking for that once they're coming to do the walkthrough on their home. They're going to be looking at HVAC systems, water heaters, etc. And if you do have an older system, especially one with R22 or pretty soon to be R410A, they're going to want some sort of reassurance that they're going to be moving into a house that's going to keep them comfortable. So when you're ready to replace your AC unit, we recommend you consult a trusted trade pro. They can help you determine what's going on and what's going to be best for your home.
Thanks for listening today, guys. I hope you'll leave us an excellent review on whatever source you get your podcasts. If you like this episode and you're following us, then you'll get the new ones on every other Tuesday. If not, feel free to subscribe or follow this podcast at your favorite source.
And if you want to know more about a specific topic, send us a question and we may talk about it in a future episode. Check out the show notes for our contact information.
This podcast is, of course, sponsored by the great folks at Done Right Services. As always, thank you for their support.